Rhodes Media.
Yo, what is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Sports Talk with Broads. That was a fun win, baby. The third of the year. It's painful to say, but watching Mccain and Tyrese Maxey end a ball game is filthy. That was fun and filthy. Yo, Mccain does this every single game. The consistency, the attention to detail when you watch his strengths, right? The way he goes about his game, the way he plays. It's almost as if lather, rinse, repeat. He has drilled it down to a science that every game he just bang goes out and executes. And it's sharp, the hesitation, the mid-range jumper, the no-dip threes, the passing. He's fucking gross. He's gross. If you're an NBA rookie, and let me give you a little scenario. You play 3 games, 14 points, 15 points, 24 points. You go, hey, that's a nice little interesting little thing happening, right? Now think about what McCain's doing. He's dominating at times. Like, he looks so good. You'd be thrilled and excited about 12, 14, and 21 as a 3-game stretch, followed by 15, 14, 12. Him and Maxey just dominated a back end, a second half, after the Nets go on this 12, 13, 14-0 run. And you wondered if it was going to be one of those ugly, hideous losses again, where we referenced a double-digit lead, and then you lose by 18 points, like what we saw in Miami or something. Instead, they got it back on track, led by the 2 young guards. I almost wonder, with all the drama, and we'll get to this crazy, stupid Joel Embiid timeline that happened pregame, which I don't even know if I necessarily even believe it. I think there's a chance that Joel Embiid is flipping all the fans off, not wanting to play at home, knowing what the pressure has been like lately. I also could absolutely 1,000% understand if there was some serious swelling involved and maybe Joel Embiid just can't play the game anymore. I said that a few shows back. There is real fear that I just think the man has been through it all physically, and his body is why he looks out of shape. It's why he looks bad. Maybe the 7'2" individual who's had 1,000 surgeries may tap out. But still, if he can play like he did against Memphis, there's still something in there. And the fact that these 2 games are in South Philadelphia, it makes me wonder. I'll put it to you this way. There's a 0% chance that I'm taking it for face value. I at least have to open up my mind for the way crazy sort of situations that it could have been. If that all makes sense. I just lost my train of thought within a couple of seconds there. But anyway, Ben Simmons sucks. That layup, for somebody in the NBA, for somebody who's a professional, I swear to God, he sucks offensively. You can't miss the layup like that. And then the hook shot late in the game. He's such a loser, man. He's such a loser. He talked a big game. It's going to be a bounce back. Unreal. Unreal that he's still doing that. The new era of Sixers basketball, though, is here. And I actually believe without Joel Embiid, and this is something that I kind of wanted to touch on before I had that little brain fart. Maxey and Mccain doing this together as a 1-2 punch, leading the way without the big man, without Paul George. We've been looking for life from this crew since the season began. There was something to that energy-wise. Are they inspired to prove to the Sixers organization, yo, you're going to like this. It's time to move on. Little nod, nod, wink, wink, just by play on the court. You see this? When possible, go ahead. Move on from 2-1. Maxey may, quote, love the big fella and have that type of personality. Nobody's happy with this Embiid crap. I haven't even touched on the fact that I guess he's so pissed off about the, quote, snitch that he's putting a lot of focus on trying to figure out who that is, which is laughable. When he gave more comments about the actual meeting, he said it was so overblown, so much so, that him and Tyrese Maxey and the whole Lateness thing, he goes, yeah, it was only like once or twice when I wasn't playing anyway. Let me tell you something. A 24-year-old having to tell you be more on time was definitely not just 1 or 2 times when you weren't playing, especially when Pat Beverly spoke out about it on his pod, saying, yeah, man, we be saying like, come on, Joe, you got to be here, Joe. And he'd be complaining that he lives too far away. That was last season, okay? So do not hit me with once or 2 times ever, because no one in their right mind would call somebody out where there was a team-only meeting being held by leaders in Kyle Lowry if it just happened because you accidentally was late once. We're all human. We're all going to be late once. Traffic. There's unfortunately maybe an accident which causes 2 lanes to be closed, and then everybody's late trying to get over the bridge. Family things that happen. There's plenty of reasons why you could be late once in a blue moon. We get that. I promise you, that's not why Maxey had to step up. So was there enough juice, at least to get the conversation started behind the scenes? Hey, I like what we got here with the 2 young pups. That was fun. I haven't felt a basketball game like that in quite some time. You get to counter Cam Johnson, and you get to counter the piss-poor play by Eric Gordon. Sometimes I was watching Eric Gordon shoot, and I'm like, holy hell, this guy can't hit a shot to save his life. Stop shooting. Between that and Caleb Martin holding his tailbone, not acting like, I'm just probably feeling like a lot of pain. He probably did do some serious damage to that tailbone, but my man's walking back like he's 96 with a walker every time he's trying to get on defense. Whenever he didn't have the ball in his hands, he shot right up to the back of the tailbone. Other than that, he'd be in his low stance, ready to be on the prowl. Look, I respect that he's willing to do that. For him to grind out that game, when you really process it without Embiid, the importance of the game was huge. The Nets stink. They're about a 6-10 basketball team, but there is truth to how desperate the Sixers are to try and get their head out of their ass and put some wins together. And Caleb Martin was willing to, barely hanging on by a thread, compete for Maxey and Jared McCain. There's probably personal pride in there too. He seems to be that type of pro. At the same time, Embiid not being around, he's sucking the entire life out of the Sixers organization right now. It's an embarrassment. Oh, once or twice. And even if it was once or twice, and Maxey thought that it was still not okay. Let's just hypothetically say that for whatever. So you're going to mock it. You're going to mock it publicly? If that's how he would be wired, I'd almost respect the hell out of that. Like, yeah, you know what? Once or twice is too much. Once or twice is 1 or 2 times too many. Do you want to win a championship or not? You have to pay attention to those details. You want to turn the rock over 65,000 times in the fourth quarter of a postseason game? You're not focused on the details. Woo-hoo! I'd say, damn, Tyrese. Damn. But even if there was a sense of urgency like that from the 24-year-old, Embiid then goes publicly, and now Embiid even making those comments about wanting to find the snitch because they're a piece of shit. Everyone starts to point at the backs now. Can't trust him, can't trust him, can't trust him. This is supposed to be a safe space, that locker room. You're supposed to be able to trust everybody with a different sense of belief. When you have a teammate, when you have teammates that become family and brothers, that's what the bond should be looking like. Instead of, yo, I do not trust that motherfucker. Well, of course the dynamic was out of whack. Joel Embiid is setting that up right now with the way that he's operating. But since him and George is a extension of that feeling because his contract was all about getting this team to a championship with Joel Embiid. So by extension, he gives off those shitty vibes too. The moment both of them are gone, I'm watching a team fight for one another out there. For whatever it's worth. For whatever it's worth. All right. So the Joel Embiid messy timeline. This is according to Kyle Neubeck of PHLY. In the morning with shoot-around, he was questionable. Then Nick Nurse mentions pregame that he will warm up and he will see how he feels at warm-up. This wouldn't be the first time that was what happened. And then eventually he says, I'm good. Didn't show up for any sort of shoot-around. Then mid-game, he was ruled out for Sunday, another home game, this one against the Clippers. We are informed that it's about some sort of swelling in the knee. I do have a theory that this is based off of wanting to make some sort of statement to the home crowd. Embiid is that kind of immature. Think about all of this. This has gotten out of hand. This has gotten wild. He doesn't get it. And I don't think he would stop short of embarrassing himself even further along the way. And if they're going to reevaluate him on Monday, and it's after these 2 games in South Philly, and the next time you see him is away, and he doesn't come back on this home floor for a few home games in a row, I'd have to at least start wondering. And they'll try and spin it that it's some sort of just how the schedule falls, and it's more of it's just ironic. Oh, come on. I can't believe them whatsoever. But at the same time, there is an element of this guy's body is so on a different level of broken. Yeah, there probably is a bunch of swelling going on. I keep wanting to say inflammation. But as I start to have that process through my brain, I'm like, that's not the word. Swelling. Of course, there's probably swelling. He's probably really hurt. That Olympics really hurt him. I'm going to stress this again. I talk so much, I don't even remember what shows I say that on. And I talk so much, I don't even remember what shows I say this whole thing about, I don't remember how many shows I'm on thing. I say that too many times, I don't even remember how many times I say that. I'm off the rocker. It's a Friday night. I'm tired. Where was I again? See what I'm saying? This is the Olympics. Jay Wright. Jay Wright was on with the afternoon show. And something he discussed was how intense those camps are. It's not just the games that are played that everybody sees on TV. For an NBA player to have the meniscus surgery, to play in the playoffs, quickly after, go through preparation to play in the Olympics, and then have a turnaround for an NBA season to start, that is gruesome. That will wear you down, even if you're someone who doesn't have injury history, who isn't normally going through the pain and suffering that Joel Embiid does on the basketball floor. Now factor in his everyday aching and fatigue and tiredness. He's probably where most guys get game 80 or 79 or 78 of a regular season type of situation play out. Like, that's probably where his body is. His body's probably telling him it's game 78. It's game 79. And they're not even, 20 games into the season? It's probably a combination of it all. He doesn't want to face the music. He doesn't want to face the booze. He doesn't want to face the hostile crowd. And he's making some sort of statement because he does have that baby attitude and he's always complaining. And he probably would, to some level, want to stick it to us because there was that report from Jake Fisher that there seems to be something planned for Joel Embiid to make a gesture towards some of the fans, which is just ludicrous, by the way, which is just absolutely asinine to think that that's really a thing. I don't know if I truly believe it or not, but it was out there. Was it the NBA Central or the fake one? And did I get stuck getting faked out while I was scrolling? I don't know. It's a combination of that and the fact that his body says, nope, we're done here. We had our fun. We had our run. And if that's the case, the Sixers are screwed. The Philadelphia 76ers are screwed with this Joel Embiid contract just based off of what he can provide from you physically. Forget the drama, forget the noise, forget everything that we've been dealing with for an entire week, which has made this week miserable. It's been so disgusting to have to take my time out of my day to talk about crap off the court, baby shit off the court, something little kids do, teenagers do when they whine, when they cry. That's what Joel Embiid did every day this week. I can't stand it. But put all that to the side. Now think about his knee, his swelling, his surgeries. We're fucked. The Sixers are screwed with Joel Embiid moving forward because he just can't play anymore. Not to the level that you need to actually be serious. It's unreal. It really is. Hey, before we take some anytime hotline calls, welcome on into the channel here. You can hit the subscribe button if you're new. Hit the thumbs up button as well. I greatly appreciate all of your support. I love you to death. And you can take me on the road with you by going to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, any of your podcasting platforms. And if you search Sports Talk with Broads and leave a 5-star rating and a review, it helps out the algorithm. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. And also, Garage Beer is the best beer ever. What helps watching Mccain and Maxey hoop, what makes it more enjoyable, what makes me embrace this team even more is when I got my Garage Beers right next to me. It is the best light beer out there. Don't worry about no IPA taste. It's 1,000% quality. DrinkGarageBeer.com. The information is down below. Okay, let's take some Sixers calls. We'll start things off with Amadeo.
Time to build around Maxey and Mccain. That's all it is. That's all that should matter. Because Joel Embiid's time as a 76er should be done. It kind of feels funny that Maxey and Jared McCain took over this game against the Brooklyn Nets against Ben Simmons, and I'm sure Joel Embiid was somewhere, but basically it was Maxey and Jared McCain, getting the torch patched to them, basically. Oh my God, the way we have fallen on the Joel Embiid situation, it's just absolutely insane. But when I watch Jared McCain, he just doesn't look like a normal NBA rookie. This man is legit. This kid is legit. And he's going to be very special in this league for years to come because it feels like he's doing things that just typical NBA rookies don't do. This guy gets inserted into the starting lineup and he's dropping 20, 25, 30 points every single game, it feels like, and he's hitting at least 4, 5, 6 threes. This man is insane, and he's just so damn electric, and it kind of proves that today, granted today is only against the Brooklyn Nets, but Maxey and McCain took over.
Yes, they did. And I don't care about the opponent. I'm not very worried about if they're beating a bad team, a good team. They haven't been able to do anything competent. They've been getting blown out by teams that are shorthanded. They've been losing to a Memphis team without Ja Morant and Marcus Smart. They lost to such a hideous Toronto team early in the year. They couldn't win in regulation ever. They had 2 overtime games that were wins. They couldn't win just flat out. So a Brooklyn Nets team that was 6-9 or 6-10 at the time of this game to go win at home down Embiid and Paul George. That's a good win. Yabusele makes some shots early. Oubre had a couple of nice spurts in there. And then it was led by Maxey and McCain. And yeah, there is something contagious about the way they play. There is no fun in the Sixers land. Zero fun. Did you hear that crowd there? Did you feel that love out there? It was a relatable team that we can support. There's personalities in that group that we admire. Caleb Martin playing through injury and super banged up in a tough, hard-nosed way. Yeah, McCain and Maxey, smiles on their faces, fingernails painted, and TikTok dances going down. You know, they got the smiles, they got that pop. Dude, you watch these McCain highlights, and people are already putting them all together in a package, throwing up 3, 4, 5-minute little packages on Twitter of McCain every night, every single night, not grabbing 5 games. It's every single night. And these plays, the way he is so fundamentally sound, and he squares up his body and his movements are clean. He knows where his pockets are, his safe spots. He gets to the floor, he squares up his body. It's automatic, right? When I was talking about the details earlier and the structure of his game, I just think it's so polished. It's such a clean look. It's so technical. The technique of it is so sound in so many different areas on the floor. For him to be so young and that sort of be your foundation, I almost, in a way, 2 things real quick. I almost, in a way, thought when you go back and watch Ray Allen's form, there's something about it. Steph Curry, same thing. Klay Thompson, same thing. There's a look of that it factor of something that is just right. That's one. Number 2, I also was wondering, while everyone was trying to figure out if Joel Embiid was even there for his team, which you want to go down that path too, I don't care what's going on, you can find a way to be there for your team. Unless his knee is that bad. And think about how bad his knee would have to be where they're saying you're on bed rest. If it's bed rest level, then holy shit, this thing is worse than we could ever imagined. And if it's not bed rest level, you're telling me you couldn't just watch the team watch the team with your team, watch the game with your team? That's asking for too much. He was afraid of the town. He was afraid of the emotions attached. And it looked to me like he removed himself from that. In some way, shape, or form, that is not escaping my mind. So when looking at a pie chart, I'm not necessarily sure exactly what that fits. But it's in there, at least 15% at a minimum. You remove that nastiness and that poor energy, and Mccain and Maxey are no joke. I wonder, though, when we were all trying to figure that out, was he there? Was he not? Was he watching the game at home and watching his team win that game and feeling some type of way about it? This team is something. All right, back to the phones.
Bros, I'm just trying to understand the 76ers as a whole. Outside of Joel Embiid, you look at an organization that is constantly trying to outsmart everybody. They think that they're better than most teams, the way that they move and treat the media and the fans, et cetera, et cetera. You look at the draft picks that they've made in the past 8 to 10 years. They've always tried to reinvent the wheel in the middle of an era where it doesn't fit. 2014 to 2016, drafting multiple centers back to back, and in an era where three ball was relevant. 2017, 2018, they're trying to play this three ball stuff when it's team basketball, and they're trying to be the Monstars in 2020, 2022, trying to be bigger than everybody in a league where people are athletic and fast and quick. And now when people are young and spry and running around, they're trying to be old and savvy and wise. I don't understand this organization. They're horrible, and it starts with them. They babied Embiid, they babied Ben Simmons, and that is the issue. Until that organization gets itself together, this will always end up this way.
Listen, it's hard for me to argue against much of what you said. The only thing I can think of in a counter way is they did get Maxey and they did get Jared McCain right. They did. So maybe that's them figuring out the young kids who can shoot and don't worry about how tall they are, and get some skilled guys who can put the rock in their hands, although Maxey's not great with the ball in his hands, but he's got a skill set that's unique. He's been able to draft what makes us excited about the future. Daryl Morey and the Sixers as a whole. So I agree with about 99% of what you were saying, because you look through the history of it all, and it's almost so blah at this point to do it because we've been doing it for so long. But yes, if you go back to the start of this thing and relive every single decision and the just grossness of it, of course that's why we're here, right? That is definitely why we're here. But there were some things in the recent that I think really forced it to go this way. Every step along the way, there was a situation that could have helped us from where we are now. It wasn't an impossible plan, but the execution of it was wacky. The Tobias when there was Jimmy Butler, the Tatum and the Fultz, the I guess the James Harden experience, if you want to look through that, but then Ben Simmons already quit and you had to try to maximize that. The Paul George stuff, we can look back and say that was garbage by the end of it all, and maybe there was a chance to, I don't know. I don't know what it would have been if it wasn't Paul George, but you get my point. Every step along the way in these pockets of a few-year runs, there was something that could have absolutely put this on a potential path to maybe squeeze more juice out of the lemon, at least getting to conference finals before getting our hearts ripped out, which would feel like night and day from where we are now. Second-round losses, I mean, that's a different type of it hits than if you were getting to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Eastern Conference Finals would be more painful because you're so close to an NBA Finals run. But there's something about the second round constant wall that is so demoralizing and so deflating with talent like Joel Embiid, who we think very highly of, and thinks his raw natural skill should elevate this team in a class that can at least witness conference finals. I don't know. I just think about this team every day right now, and I wonder, is it ever going to change? Are we ever going to get a unit out there that we can believe in, like a Boston Celtics, like a Golden State Warriors? Yeah, you heard me. Why can't I have that level of basketball team on the floor in this town? That's the bar. And we'll see if Mccain and Maxey can be the ones to get us to that standard. All right, everybody. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me tonight. I greatly appreciate it. I love you to death. You're the greatest in the world. Go Birds! Talk to you on the next one.